So a couple of days ago, after picking up my son from school, he starts sharing and laughing at the same time how one of his classmates was struggling to count. So there I am in the car with a 6-year-old trying to impart some wisdom of how it is important not to laugh at others, that God has equipped us differently. So there I went. And in that moment, I realized but that is how the world is, that's how society is. That right from the moment that you were born, you are pinned up against each other. That we are in constant competition, that parents will be competing amongst themselves, that no, mine started talking at 2 weeks, mine started working within a month, mine was already working. And then eventually they grow from that. Now they go to school, they have reports, there's sports, there's all of these different things that build up their competitiveness. That, oh, I want to be the best. And then eventually these kids grow up into grown now adults who are competing amongst each other. That, no, I am married, I have kids, you don't have kids, I have this career, I have this business, I drive this car, I stay in this particular neighborhood. And it is unfortunate that because of that competitiveness, relationships have been lost. Because of that competitive spirit that has been cultivated over years. And the sad thing then comes in with that same competitiveness. It doesn't just end in the world or in our workplaces, but we take that competitiveness into the house of God. That we are competing amongst ourselves as the brethren. That no, this one sings better, this one preaches better. Though that is the reality, that life is just competitiveness. With an awareness, I think we need to fight it and not encourage it as much and not celebrate it as much as we do. Rather, teaching our children that God has gifted them differently. The Bible tells us that we are all members of one body. The arm cannot wake up tomorrow and say, no, I also want to see. I want to be an eye. Because these two organs are made differently, equipped differently. Their function is different, and it goes with how they have been equipped. That the arm cannot do what an eye does. And if the arm tries to do what the eye does, it will just lead to frustration. And now, as the church, we are talking about revival. And for revival to take place in our own lives, in our communities, we have to be together. We have to be united. That means then us fighting against the spirit of competitiveness, comparing ourselves with each other. And I'm sure even in this time, in this season where we're talking about revival, there are some who are out of that competitive spirit, hoping that, no, I want a revival to break out from my church, that it starts with my church so that I can then be highlighted in that moment. Then I can be catapulted into stages. That is our thinking. And I think we really need to fight and deal with this competitiveness that exists among us as a community if we are ever going to experience revival in this land. That we need to be united in one mind and one heart, and using the different gifts and the different skills that we have to glorify God. That if one can sing, let us celebrate that one. And if one is good behind the camera, let us celebrate that one. If the other can preach well, let us celebrate them. Not that we find ourselves now competing with each other because of the competitiveness of life. That family, let us celebrate rather. I want this to be an encouragement and a takeaway, that let us celebrate the different gifts that God has given us, and that we take those gifts and we use them to glorify Him. Not that we use those gifts to lord over others or to show off to others that, no, look at the high notes that I can hit, that you cannot manage. That God, family, created us differently. So let us not compare ourselves with one another. That you have been wonderfully made, that you are wonderful just the way that you are. If God wanted you to be somebody else, He would have made you to be somebody else. And God gave you that particular gift, that particular skill to glorify Him. That He has equipped you for the work and for the mission that He has for you. That if He wanted you to be a singer, you would be a singer. That if He wanted you to go in another direction, He would have equipped you to go in that direction. So let us celebrate the gifts and the skills that God has given us.